Someone please method. In last lecture, we have analyzed this truss only for member A, B, then member A, F, F, G, then B, G. Okay, so remaining member I have analyzed. So please verify this answer with your answers because on this particular member truss only we are going to apply strain energy principle and find out deflection. Okay, so our today's first point is that strain energy. Okay, so in mechanics of structure, you have undergone this chapter of strain energy. Okay, so let us derive that formula. Okay, so let us consider here what we have seen strength of material. Let us consider a bar like this, which is subjected to load P, like this, and which is having L. Okay, and under the load or under the action of this load, let us see bar is elongated by value of delta L. Okay, and E is the modulus of elasticity, and A is the cross-sectional area of bar. Okay, PL upon AE, where P is applied load, L is length of member, A is the cross-section area, and E is the modulus of elasticity. Okay, so now what is the meaning of strain energy? So let us take, if we plot this graph on y-axis, if we take force P, and on x-axis if we take deflection delta L. Okay, so we have seen in the strength of material laboratory that this or load deflection curve, as we are going to apply load, if the material is elastic, so stress is going to force is going to increase, and similarly deflection or change in length also going to increase. Okay, and for first part of up to elastic limit, this line is exactly straight line. Okay, so we will only consider, so this will be elastic point. Okay, after that whatever graph is there, we are not going to consider that graph. Okay, up to elastic point only our area of interest is there. So if we take area of this curve up to this elastic curve, that means this area, so this area will be nothing but strain energy of stored in this bar. So this area, which is generally strain energy, is denoted by letter U. Okay, so this area will be 1/2 of, this is total is P, this total is delta L. So 1/2 of P into delta L. So delta L we have derived already. So 1/2 of P into PL by AE. So now finally we are having formula for strain energy at P square L upon AE. Okay, so now you might remember that this is formula for strain energy of axially loaded member. So strain energy will be P square L divided by AE. Okay, so for you, if you want to find out strain energy for a single member in truss, so that will be like this. Okay, so up to here strain energy for axial members are there. Now next is uh, unit load method, or which is also known as, or use of this strain energy for unit load method, which is also known as Castigliano's theorem. Okay, so there was a scientist named as a Castigliano, so he proposed that theorem. So for that we will be needing one truss, and on this truss, if suppose at this point I'm going to apply load as P. Okay, so what does this Castigliano's theorem, this particular Castigliano's theorem states that if you want to, let us name this point, let us name this point where P is acting that point, we will name that point as a point C. Okay, so if you want to find out deflection at point C, so deflection at point C we will name as a delta C. Okay, deflection at C. Okay, so what does this Castigliano's theorem states that if you take partial derivative of strain energy, okay, we have already derived this strain energy is equal to P square L upon AE. And if you want to find out the deflection at point C, if you take partial derivative of strain energy stored in all the members of truss with respect to this load P, so that will give us delta C. That means deflection at C. So this is very one important statement is there by virtue of Castigliano's theorem. Okay, remember this. If you want to find out deflection under any point, so if you take partial derivative of a total strain energy of entire truss with respect to load acting at that point, so it will give us deflection in the direction of load. So if this P is acting like this, so we will get deflection in the direction of P. So let us assume P is acting like this. Okay, so we will get deflection in this direction. If P is acting like this, so we will get deflection in this direction. Right now P is acting exactly vertical, so we will get vertical deflection. So remember this, whenever you want to find out deflection at any point in the direction of load acting at that point, so you have to take partial derivative of total strain energy stored in entire truss or entire structure with respect to that load. It will represent deflection acting at that point. Okay, so now we are having formula for this u, that is strain energy. If you write down del u by del p, so it is going to be del by del p of this entire equation p square L upon 2 AE. Okay, so in this equation, this 2AE is going to be constant because area is not going to change. Modulus of elasticities of member is not going to change. So we can take it outside. So we will be having only 1 upon 2AE. Okay, so if you take partial derivative of this, you will be having 1 or 1 into this square will come forward. So 1 into 2 divided by 2AE, and out of this p square, 1p will be uh, taken outside. So 2pl into del by del p of, now only p is there. And now here we are going to replace this p by pi. So this pi is going to be total strain energy stored in entire structure. Okay, remember this. This pi is going to be total forces acting in entire structure. That means entire truss system. Now here this del p by del pi by del p. For this we will again use that truss. So whatever diagram I have drawn here right now. So if suppose this load acting is P, so can we express all the other members in the truss in terms of P? That means here in this member load might be 0.8 times P. Here it will be suppose 0.9 times P. Here it will be say something 0.5 times P. Okay, so if we express forces in any member, okay, so I will write down here pi forces in any arbitrary member in terms of p, so it will be like this: 0.9 times p, or 0.8 times p, or 0.5 times p. Okay, or in other words, we can express this same by pi is equal to k into p. That means this 0.9, 0.8, 0.5, these are some constant values are there. So we can express this total pi or forces in any of member is equal to pi is equal to k into p, where k is the constant and p is the load acting. Okay, so here again this del by del p, that means k into p, that is there is a one constant. So here we are getting this value of del by del p of pi, we are getting as a k. Because of what? Because if we take partial derivative of this pi is nothing but k into p. Okay, so this value of pi is nothing but k into p. So if we take the derivative of this K into P, that is going to be K only. So here we are having this final equation. So this 2 and this 2 will get cancelled. So we are having P. So del Pi by del P is nothing but K into L divided by AE. So this will be deflection at point C. So this is your formula for deflection of trusses. Okay, so for this particular example, okay, we will find out deflection under point G. So you can take example, find out deflection under point G due to this external loading. Whenever there is a problem to find out deflection at any point, so remember our formula of that deflection is nothing but PKL upon AE. Okay, and this will be nothing but summation of PKL upon AE for each and every member. Okay, so P for each member is different. That means forces acting in each member is different. K is different. What is meaning of K? That I will tell you very short. What is the meaning of L? L is nothing but length of every member. A is nothing but area of each member. Okay, so we are having this data with us. So now what we will do, we will first of all draw one table. Okay, K, we have not seen what is the meaning of K right now. Okay, so here now I will explain what is the meaning of K. Okay, so so K is nothing but the point where deflection is desired. So in this case, we have to find out deflection at G. Okay, what is the vertical deflection at G? So vertical deflection means what? The point where deflection is asked or deflection is desired, at that point we have to apply one vertical load. This is point G. So at that point we have to apply one vertical load of 1 kilonewton. Okay, remember this. Whenever if you want to find out point deflection, downward deflection at point G, at that location we have to apply vertical load of 1 kilonewton, and we have to just remove this all the. So now on this entire truss only one force of 1 kilonewton is acting. So and this is again their load is symmetric about y-axis. So this reaction will be 0.5 kilonewton. This reaction will be 0.5 kilonewton. And sorry for this, this is a roller support actually. Okay, so these two loads are there. These two reactions are there, and one vertical load is there. So now we have to analyze this entire truss once again for this given loading system. And now that member forces we are going to denote by, in initial case, whenever external load is acting, at that time we are seeing loads as a PAB or PBC like this. Now under the action of this unit load or 1 kilonewton load, we will denote these loads as a KAB and or KBC likewise. So now again ask that find out vertical deflection under point G. Okay, so we have to apply one vertical load at point G, which should be having value or which should be having uh, magnitude of load as 1. Okay, so in morning lecture I have written down here 1 Newton. So remember that this is not a 1 Newton, this is 1 unit load. Okay, so unit can be anything. It may be kilonewton, it may be Newton, it may be kg, it may be pound. So remember that whatever load we are applying, it is 1 unit. Why it is important, you are going to see very soon. So now by applying this unit load, I have found out member forces in each member. So if I consider this joint A, and if I draw free body diagram of joint A, so I can get here in morning part you have also solved this. KAB is equal to 0.833, and similarly this KAF is equal to 0.667. So age after resolving joint A, now if you resolve joint B, then you will get KFB is equal to directly 0 because no vertical load is acting, and KFG is equal to 0.667 again. Similarly, after resolving this joint B, we have come up with the member forces. So these member forces after applying 1 unit load is shown in this diagram. Okay, so these are the member forces after application of 1 unit load. Okay, so where it is useful, now here in this diagram it is useful. So in morning session we have seen that or we have plotted one table like this, in which first column is serial number, second column is member, third column is P, that is force acting. Now here only, if you see, our E is given in Newton per mm square, area is given in centimeter square. So here only we will convert this area into mm square, because generally deflections are calculated in mm. So 1 centimeter is equal to 1 centimeter is equal to 10 mm. So if you want to convert the centimeter square into mm square, so it will be just 4 into 1 centimeter is equal to 10 mm. So 10 square, so it will be equal to 400 mm square, because 10 square is 100, 100 into 4, it is 400 mm square. We don't need to change this value of E. So E is 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square. Now here this P is given, or whatever P we have calculated, that is in kilonewton. So here what I will write down, so P into 1000 Newton. If you multiply this value by 1000, so then this P will be in Newton. Then this L is given in meters. So what we will do here, 1 meter we know that it is into 10 raised to 3, it will be in mm. So what is the meaning of this particular column of table? So this 25 into 1000, that will be in Newton. Similarly, this 2.5 into 10 raised to 3, that will be in mm. Okay, and now here K is nothing but these forces, these unit forces, whatever we have calculated. So that I have listed down here, forces K. And remember, now these are the unit forces. So we don't need to apply any type of multiplication factor for this particular K values. Okay, so that means it should not be there like 0.833 into 10 raised to 3. That should not be case here. It is values of K, that means unit load of member forces, we have to take as it is. Okay, now in problem it is given that for entire truss, area is 4 centimeter square and E is 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square. Okay, so we don't need to multiply each member with that, we don't need to divide for each calculation by AE, because we know that delta, that is deflection, is equal to summation of PKL by AE. Okay, so what we will do, we will only calculate, because of this AE is common for all the members, we will calculate summation of PKL first, and we will divide summation of PKL by AE. So that will also give us deflection under that load. So now multiplication should work. So for member AB, this PKL will be 25 into 1000 into 2.5 into 10 raised to 3, or 1000 into 0.833. So likewise, I will tell this values in terms of 10 raised to 6. So for AB 52.06 into 10 raised to 6, then for BC 34.70 into 10 raised to 6, CD same value, for DE 52.06 into 10 raised to 6, for AF 26.68 into 10 raised to 6, AF to HE values are same, BF is 0, BG is 0, CG 30 into 10 raised to 6, DG is 0, and DH is also 0. Now take summation of PKL, that means vertical summation of this PKL 31026263055. Now deflection under point G, delta, let us assume it by delta, it will be now summation of PKL divided by AE. So now you can divide this value of summation of PKL with AE. Here A is 400 and E is 2 into 10 raised to 5, 3.87 mm. So this will be your answer for deflection under point G. Now, one thing I have forgotten to tell you that if you see, these underlined forces are here. That means these are tensile forces. Okay, so before doing calculations of these forces, remember in this table, tensile forces should be taken as a negative. Okay, tensile forces, whatever forces are there, those forces should be taken as negative, but it will not affect calculations of PKL, because we know that. So if, for example, for this member AF, okay, so for member AF minus 20 into 2 into minus 0.667. So minus minus will become plus. So ultimately this value of pKl going to be positive. But just for information, remember in this table, compression forces we will take as a positive forces and tensile forces we will take as a negative forces in this table. Please remember this.